Alright, so I'm here to share 5 tips for healing that everybody should know if you're planning on healing. 1. Starting your healing journey in unregulated surroundings is counterproductive. If you're trying to heal a stab wound but the knife is still in you, then you're not really going to be able to heal it that well. And if you're trying to heal not having regulated emotions, but everything around you is purposely trying to dysregulate your emotions, is only going to work against all that you're putting down. So if you're trying to heal and you're trying to regulate, don't hurt yourself by fighting through your surroundings. Just do your best to get through it and then find a way to remove yourself and then go on about the process. 2. Take your triggers seriously and avoid them. This is kind of an extension of number 1. If you know something is going to make you feel a way or maybe validate ideas that you're trying to work yourself out of, then stay away from it. You don't need to, again, be fighting an uphill battle when you're making it an uphill battle. So stay away from your triggers. 3. Meeting all 68 needs is the name of the game. Now, I don't see enough people talking about this, and I think it's because it's a framework that comes from a very specific feller. There are needs that everybody needs to meet. So when we're asking ourselves, why are we having to reparent ourselves? Because when you grew up, there were certain needs that were supposed to be met to create or produce an emotionally intelligent child that you did not get met. So through that time, your emotional side or your emotional brain, which is called the limbic brain, was doing its best to work through how to create balance out of the imbalance that is your needs being unmet. Those are called maladaptations. So when you're trying to reparent yourself, you're trying to work yourself out of those maladaptations. In order to do that, you need to go back to the basic 68 needs and find ways to meet those needs on your own. And when you get to that step, find ways to integrate other people into that plan of getting your needs met. So that's how you learn what it means to have a good friend that's helping you sustain your mental health. Are they helping you feel secure? Are they helping you feel accepted? 4. Others are needed for healing, and integration is at the first step. So this is kind of part of those first 2 steps, right? If you're trying to step out of unregulated surroundings, but every time that you get around others, you become a people pleaser, then that may mean that you need to stay away from others. If people have the ability to make willful decisions and do whatever they want, and those things happen to be things that could trigger you, then maybe being around people is something that you should consider a more of a sensitive topic. When it comes to integration, that's a step that happens after you learn how to meet your needs, because once your needs are met, then you realize exactly what it is that you need from others versus what you are neglecting yourself. You dig? So once you understand, okay, I need to affirm myself in this way, and even beyond words, I need to instill these rituals. I need to instill this sort of language when I talk about myself. Then you learn, okay, and so this is the language I need my friends to use. This is the language I need my family to use. And that's how you properly integrate people back in. But too often do we feel invalidated because we don't have the proper words to articulate our needs to others. And because they don't have the words either, we think they just don't get us. It's a hard thing to navigate when you truly don't know what you're looking for. So find it for yourself and then learn to integrate people back in, because integration is a monster of its own, depending on how deep your trauma goes. 5th tip. The brain is wired for pleasure, so use pleasure to rewire it. When we're talking about working through our needs, when we're talking about going deep into our traumas and trying to break it down and restructuring how we see our traumas and really trying to instill that new understanding so that we can step out of all those ideas that we've built in ourselves. Those are really deep emotional things that you're going to have to go through, and you're going to have to be honest with yourself. And it's hard not to shut down emotionally when even those ideas feel invalidating, you know? So how do we work all of that in? How do we stop it from being so scary and so hurtful that we quit prematurely? We use pleasure. All right, we immerse ourselves in those things that allow us to feel happy, excited, joyful, you know? So if I were to tell you, hey, let's get down with the healing, right? First thing you would do is question if your home, if the things that you constantly go to are regulated experiences, and what dysregulated experience or unregulated experience are you required to deal with? How are you going to properly structure and plan around that so that your emotions aren't thrown amok when you have to deal with those things? And then figuring out what other triggers, like maybe social media, that are constantly trying to pick at your emotions, or if you keep want to go into this particular thought that you know isn't going to produce anything but negative ideas, know what your triggers are, stay away from them. Then it's time to start looking down the list of the 68 needs, figuring out how you're going to meet it on your own, and then figuring out how you're going to integrate other people into that process. And alongside all of that, figuring out where you're going to place your pleasure strategically so that we can help rewire that brain. That's it. Have a good day.